trying to prove something or somebody that's abnormal and doesn't fit in. I say that's exactly what we are. We are the odd, the outcasts, the peculiar, the strangers. And they say we don't fit in. But I say we are exactly who God created us to be. Anomalies. The system didn't plan for this.
It's good to see you again.
It's always a pleasure, man. You already know that.
Hey, man, look. I'm grateful for the day we were born.
Really? You go way back like that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, birth is the beginning of everything, right?
Yeah, I guess there was something special. You know, I can remember coming out of my mother.
Man, don't tell me that all of a sudden.
I do. I remember it. I don't know
Really?
what it is.
It's
Yeah.
vivid
Kind
or
of.
vague?
I don't really know how to put it into words. It's kind of, it used to be more vivid, but I can see it. Like I'm thinking right now, I can see it, but yes.
The more we live every single day, some of our early memories start to fade away.
You think everybody have some of those memories they remember, or does that make me special, or what is that?
Well, technically speaking, any mind birthed through a canal can remember if they channel in. But no, that makes you unique because you want to harness that.
Right,
you actually want to pay attention to that.
Right.
You want to remember every single moment that you were born, right?
Well, I don't know if I want to think that back that far. Remember, I just can't help it. I have always recalled that story.
So it pulls at you.
Yeah, it pulls at me. I don't know.
That makes you different.
It's like it's a purpose or something like.
That makes you different.
Right. I see everything clearly. But what's up, everybody? Y'all know what time it is.
Yeah, welcome.
welcome.
Yeah.
What
Let's
is
get
this?
stroked up.
Let's get stroked up. Here go this guy, man. Welcome back to Strok'D, the art of mental stimulation. Tonight, you know what we're about to do as usual, touch the brain, talk about some things that you may have thought about before, maybe you haven't. Some stuff may come out that I didn't even know was in my brain, you know, thought process that I didn't even know was there. So what do you think, brother? What
do I think about that? I think about a birth.
A birth?
Yeah. What is an anomaly? You know, like to be born different. What does that mean to you? You know what I'm saying? A birth of an anomaly.
Birth from an anomaly. I don't know. Anomaly is like a rarity. Anomaly is, I don't know, it's just something totally different. I never even thought to put it into words. I just felt like that's just what I was. I just knew I was born with a purpose. Something different was inside of me my entire life. I always knew in my head as a kid, but I couldn't share it with anyone. I just knew, I don't know, it's just something greater out there.
So at the end of the day, that means the day you were born,
yes,
and the moment you started to gain some consciousness, you felt like you were different from the world, right? Or
always.
Different from people around you, right?
I can remember as a little kid processing things differently and just seeing things differently. So I always knew. What about yourself?
Oh, man. Yes. Now, most people I'm going to share something a little personal.
Okay.
Most people might not know that I grew up with deaf parents, for example. So immediately I felt different since the day I was born because my first language is that language, you know, American Sign Language. So being born, we have to absorb.
Okay.
Then we start to look. Once we start to gain information, data, we start to see things a certain way.
Okay.
So to be different means that nobody gets to define that.
So you think everyone that was born with deaf parents is different, or I don't know. So you saying every person who's born with deaf parents, is that an anomaly in itself, or you're just special?
Well, no. I think everybody's special. But yes, technically speaking, being born with deaf parents does make you different. I mean, they call it a CODA, child of a deaf adult.
Right.
However, any person born, there are circumstances that can immediately make you different.
But I don't know if it's to that effect, though. Like, what am I trying to say here? Just like intelligence, for example, you can have a doctor have that level of intelligence. They studied in books, but then you got this person who probably never been to college. It's just natural in them. They know things, they sense things, and they pick up on things. And I don't know. I look at that as more of an anomaly, something that's just totally different, rare, out of this world, and you don't just see it every day.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. Because you can have an environment where everybody is extremely educated, right? And know what they think is everything, and have a child. Okay. And that child come out different than them. Okay. Right? See the world different than them. They could put all kind of data or information in them, program them, as they say. Okay. And then that same child still not conform or agree. And then you'll have parents at that moment go, I don't understand. Okay. So that's an anomaly to a degree.
I guess. I don't know. See, I'm trying to get the words out of my brain and put them on this mic. Okay. When did you feel like your purpose was greater than you, greater than this world? Because everybody don't have that. Everybody may have a purpose, but they don't feel like it's as big, and they don't feel like it's so grand. When did you feel that? Okay. What make you feel like you're one of the chosen ones?
So I'll say the very moment I started to feel different was when I was a child and I used to be fascinated with the stars. Okay. So I'd go sit on the porch, growing up in the country. And before I knew it, as a young kid, 5, 6 years old, I'm fascinated with stars, So immediately that probably makes somebody different because most people don't do that. Okay. So I don't know. That's about how early I was in life. When it comes to stars and stuff like that, it seems like you're telling my own story because my father, he exposed us to that. He always had telescopes and stuff. I'm from the country, Mississippi, for those of you who do not know that. So it's just like open sky, stars, moon, nothingness. You're just sitting outside. You hear crickets. You see deer walking across the grass, frogs. You see rabbits late at night. So I'll sit out, just sit on the step, look out into the open sky. I see the stars, and I used to feel like I belonged there. It was like a pull, like you were a part of nature.
I guess like I was a part of nature, and it's just that experience in itself. I used to sit there, and I used to feel like God was talking to me and telling me, as you get older, you have this big purpose to fill, and you're going to do great things. And my entire life, for people who know me, I've always spoken that. I've always said, I'm going to be a multimillionaire. I'm going to do this. I'm going to change lives. I'm going to help people. And I've always spoke this and spoke this and spoke this. And I know people probably just waved it off like, oh, that's something everybody says. But I always felt it inside of me, and it's always bugged me. And every step of my life has always been there. I can't be comfortable at all. I wake up, I eat, sleep, and breathe it. I probably get on your nerves because I talk about it all the time. Yeah, I know it, man. But that's how everybody knows me. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be successful. I have to be successful.
You're about your purpose.
I have to be successful.
Right. You're about your purpose.
Even when I didn't know what that purpose was. Right now, I'm still figuring it out, but I feel like I'm steps closer now. Like us doing this, I feel closer to it. My spirit is at ease, but it's still more. I feel it's like, gotta keep going. You got to keep going.
I'm going to bring this back in. So most people that are in tune with nature appear to be different than most people in our society. Okay. All right. So the very moment that you start to gravitate to the stars, the moon, animals, and you start to appreciate things of that nature, and then you start to show a different level of affection or love for people because of how nature appeals to you, that makes you different. Right. So when I start looking at anomalies, why you become rare, there are not that many country people out there anymore. Okay. So simply put, you take you and I, right? We both grew up in the country. We appreciate nature. We're affectionate people. Right. But most of our society is not that. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right. I remember I was a kid in Louisiana, small town, Vidalia, Louisiana. I know most people probably never heard of it. I remember being a kid. It was a shotgun house. That's what my mother grew up in, on Maple Street. So that's where I spent a lot of my time. I wonder how many people was stuck in that shotgun house. A lot of people in there. And I remember my grandmother, great-grandmother, she had diabetes. And she'll be in this bed. You know, Shotgun House had a couch. I can see it painted vividly. It had a one couch. Her bed was in the middle of the room. It was a hospital bed because she was sick. So the bed was actually a hospital bed, not a real bed. And it was sitting right there. She had, her leg got cut off. So it was me, my cousins, my sister, all of us there. We playing, everybody having a good time. And she needed something. She needed her leg rubbed. She needed, I forgot, whatever she needed. It was a nub. And I'm just this little kid, and I had that love inside of me, and I had that pull inside of me, and everybody else like, ooh, and running away, and I want to do it. And I'm sitting there rubbing on that nub for her. Yeah. Taking the time, showing her love, wrapping it up, rubbing on it. So I just always felt like I was different. I was always a kid. I did kid things, but things like that always pulled me. Like I knew I had to help. It's my purpose. I have to be
okay, I'm going to go ahead and address that. All of a sudden, it sounds like here's a child, and that child apparently started to become an adult. Started to do something that adults would do, but it came natural to you.
Right.
So that makes you different immediately. So I gotta hit you with something real fast. To me, the birth of an anomaly is somebody that is foreign.
Okay.
Somebody that's different. Somebody that's an alien.
Yes.
Simply put, to be unusual, peculiar. Now, what we have to caution ourselves on, the very moment we become foreign, the very moment we become an anomaly or an alien, different, we become somebody that will get put in a box.
True. That's definitely true.
People can't understand, and we have a tendency as human beings to try to find some type of understanding.
Right.
So that's how we categorize, and that's how we put people in boxes.
I mean, we actually put ourselves in boxes too, because I remember knowing I was different at a young age, but yet I was surrounded by people and kids that were not, quote unquote, so different. So I used to try to, be like them, be like what was around me. So things like that, probably a lot more anomalies in the world, but they get stuck in that because losing themselves, not, further and further getting away from themselves, wanting to fit in. So I knew I was different, but I used to be in the so-called, I'll say projects or whatever. I had a lot of family that lives in all those areas, and we used to stay with them a lot. And I'll be out there just playing with them, trying to fit in because it was like survival. I ain't going to say survival of the fittest, but it was like survival. I was super smart, super intelligent. I perceived things a certain way, but I went right in with the crowd, went right in where it was supposed to be cool or whatever.
Well, we're governed a certain way when we live in impoverished situations or a governed mentality. So instead of being an anomaly, we start to try to conform.
Right.
And that's a struggle for most of us because, you're born and you don't know any better.
Right.
Now, we're supposed to do better when we learn.
Right.
That's our ultimate goal. So,
right.
One of my favorite examples when it comes to anomalies, when you're talking about being so different and conformity is not something you can resonate with, you can't see it in any capacity in your own mind. I think of the example in the North America, the example of Jesus. Here you had someone that was murdered for being different. That's a struggle for me.
Right.
If we live in North America and we're supposed to be about love, respect, elevation, so forth and so on, I think about why is it a problem that you have people that can be different and we judge them, ostracize them. Why do we do that? Why are the peculiar persecuted?
Because the world's not designed for that. They want everybody to fall in line. They want everybody to follow this particular path that they have paved out. And the people who have seemed like they were awakened, a lot of them were killed when they seemed like they were on a different path. They kill them or whatever. So, they just want to keep us on their same track, the track they want us on. So anytime you open your mind like that and they see that you can see what's really going on,
we're going to come back to that, by the way.
I bet. I bet. So, that's just exactly what it is, man.
And see, you almost brought me to my next point. I wrote on this little, board you and I try to, formulate ideas for. My biggest question is why only so few anomalies? And you already addressed it. You already answered that. And so for me, that becomes a problem. We let our society govern us.
Yeah.
We let everything around us dictate us.
Right.
Now, you know me, I don't believe in that.
Right. It causes you to withdraw into yourself. I used to spend a lot of time with myself at a young age. You can ask my sister. we'll be playing and I disappear in my room for 3-4 hours and she'll be like, what were you doing in there? I'm in my room, I have a notebook and I'm just writing out different stuff, different thoughts and different ideas I have. Maybe a poem that come across my head, stuff that I didn't want to share with the world because I was so different, so I was different alone. I didn't want to be out in the world showing that because I didn't know what I would be looked at, but I used to come up with theories and ideas. I'm talking about I'm not a teenager yet. Or I'll be reading a dictionary and just writing words for fun in a dictionary or coming up with stories. So being a nerd. Being a nerd, but...
A recluse.
A recluse, but for that reason, though. I just, as a kid... finding myself...
Ever since you were young, you were trying to find yourself. A lot of people do not do that for themselves. They do not try to find who is within.
I don't know, I was wondering, maybe a lot more people do that, but a lot more people just don't voice it because, like I said, they don't want to be seen as different. So, I don't know. Maybe listening to something like this will make people step out and be like, okay, it's okay to be that different. I'm not alone. I mean...
So you're saying people are afraid to be themselves or find themselves.
Right, but in this day, 2023... which is a new year, man. Happy New Year. Sunday. New Year. Yeah, Sunday was New Year. 2023, the world is a lot more different now. You see a lot more people stepping out, a lot more eccentric people showing themselves. And, I mean, the world is different now. They fostered that. So, congratulations to that.
So, okay, see, now you're going to make me say something. So, we say our world is different, but it doesn't look the same to you at all?
I mean, it looks the same, but I mean, they're afforded a lot more things and a lot more opportunities, a lot more ways to be themselves.
So let's take advantage then.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Let's be different. Let's be real.
That's what we're doing now.
Yeah, you and I.
We're on the mic right now instead of me being in my room in that notebook.
Same.
Right.
Same.
So I was like, I don't care now. I'm ready to step out of the shadows.
This little country fella will be sitting on the porch, you know, to himself.
Right.
So, we're going to take the opportunity to connect and resonate with people, and you and I are going to connect and resonate with each other. And we think that spirit alone will set a fire.
Right. When I was young, man, to this day, I still say the same thing. God used to come to me. I used to hear a whisper, and they used to say, as long as you help people, you'll never want for anything. As long as you help people, you'll never want for anything. And right now, I'm living it, but throughout life, I kind of got off that path because the more I was helping people, people were taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
People were taking advantage of it. I was finding myself in situations, so I started to put up walls and put up guards and trying to shelter who I was. And, I mean, it might happen to a lot of people, but that's constantly in my head. And the more I help people, the more I don't want for anything, man. So, I mean, you kind of guide you along the way. If you pay attention and let them dwell in your spirit and you really listen to it.
Here you go. It's better to give than to receive.
It's better to give than receive, but I think everybody probably have that little voice inside them. I don't know if it's that exact thing, but if you really just hone in on it, I mean, he's telling you something. He's guiding you to do something.
Well, absolutely. We got to tap into, something that's bigger than ourselves. The problem we have as people, if you want to be truly different, you have to be in tune with something that's greater than you.
Right.
The very moment we start looking at ourselves only in the singular, in the flesh, or whatever you want to call it, however you want to look at it, we get narrow-minded.
Right.
When you start...
Go ahead.
When you start to believe in something that's greater than you, narrow views don't exist.
Okay. Like, I could do small things for people. I could see a homeless guy and I buy him a sandwich, or I could see someone whose shoes are torn up and I get them a pair of shoes, but something inside of me keeps saying, go bigger. It's something bigger you're supposed to be doing. It's something larger. Like, that's not enough. And then I get down on myself, like, I need to do more. I need to do more.
Okay, well, I got a question for you then. Being an anomaly, being different like yourself, when you don't feel like you fit in this particular world, this environment, this structure, your ultimate goal is to heal people, correct?
Correct.
All right. So how do you see yourself doing that?
Just being available, being there, letting people know they're seen, letting people know that they're heard, letting people know that whatever they're going through, whatever they're doing, it's okay. And I don't know, just resonating with them, because I got a little piece. I feel like everybody has a little piece of everybody inside them that you can pick up on a piece of them, and you can kind of let them know that you're not alone. And that's kind of like what I am for people. I'm like a safe space, man. Nothing you can say to me could offend me. Nothing would cause me to judge you, and I'm just there and open with that.
Sounds like you want to be connected to people, and sadly, people don't want to be connected to you.
It's okay though.
Oh, it's okay because you're gonna be you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be me regardless,
Right.
man. They'll come around when it's meant to come around. Everybody had their own journey, but they can say they did experience that somewhere in their life. I found someone that actually cared. I mean, it wasn't no kinship, any of that. Someone that's just genuinely cared, genuinely put themselves out there and let me know that they're here. And if I do that, I feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose and my job is done.
Agreed.
Right.
100%. I can find your wave. So I want to hit you with something real quick, man. And I don't want to be narrow in my view, but I want to like expound on this and get your opinion. So to be Christ-like, the idea is that you're imitating his path, right?
Right.
So we mentioned earlier that he was murdered for being different. So I want to hit you with this fact or this idea. There is a freedom in being different. It has no boundaries. It has no limits to what you can become. Belief beyond the mind becomes an anomaly, just like Jesus. And you might just have a Jesus complex if you think that way.
That's that Jesus complex words again, man. Oh, man, don't get me started on that.
No, I want your opinion because, again, I mean, we're talking, right?
Yeah, we're talking, man. You talking about the Jesus complex thing?
Yeah,
like that, like you have. I don't know. Anytime that you see yourself as bigger than something and bigger than when people see themselves as, they automatically could put that label on top of you. But we're not meant to be here and settle and play the small game, man. We're here to play the long game, and we're the head, not the tail. So it's okay to be that. And what you always say, we're supposed to be Christ-like. So
absolutely,
we're supposed to be Christ-like. So why not be Christ-like, man?
Right. I mean, anybody in North America should, or a person that actually read the Bible should understand that it says you can have the mind of Christ, but you can't have the mind of God. I probably hinted at that before. Mm-hmm. Simply put, if we're gonna be a representation of something bigger than ourselves, like we want to resonate with people, we want to touch people, we want to grow something that is beyond us.
Right.
Then we should be like that, different, Christ-like, show love, kindness, respect, be patient with people, seek understanding with one another. Anybody that understands, ancient proverbs, for example, since they exist in every country, then we should understand the idea of what love is. Right. People that exhibit love are different. Trust me. You got hippies, nomads, and so forth and so on.
Right.
When they show love, it's very different.
Man, I just want to get to a place which you just spoke about, no boundaries, no limitations. Ultimately, I think that's my higher self, and I'll be able to feel that higher purpose. But that's like the hardest thing to do when you exist in the world, because you have to deal with worldly things, because you care. Like I said, at the core of things, you care. I don't want to. So my goal every day is to get to the point where I don't care about any of this. I really can separate myself from the flesh, and I really be able to do the things that God wants me to do. I just want to tune everything out, be me, don't care, be just super comfortable in my own skin, and nothing bothers me. Like anybody, they can cuss me out in my face. Somebody can talk about my mother or whatever, and I just stay focused and stay tuned in. But, I mean, I get caught up in that sometimes, and that's something I'm working on daily.
Hey, look, you want your spirit to guide you. Yes,
that's it. I don't want to care about anything of this world, but I do, because I am of this world.
Well, yeah.
Right now, in the flesh.
The sad part, just to piggyback again on something you said in that sentence or structure, the idea in our world is we get conditioned. The environment exists a certain way, so we start to get influenced.
Right.
I remember being in my youth, man, and one of the struggles was I thought I was affluent. Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought I was guiding my path. I thought nobody could tell me anything or whatever the case may be. My grandmother raised me, and one of the things that she shared with me, probably in my mid-teens, I believe, she said, Stro, you're not a leader.
She said that?
Not Stro, but...
No, I'm saying you're not a leader.
You're not a leader.
Yeah.
Because I told her the people that were associated with me were following me. So my grandmother humbled me.
Right.
She told me, she said, if they're doing the same thing you're doing and constantly keeping you in that same type of mentality,
okay,
you're not a leader.
So that mean what you were doing negative things? She said when she said that saying
things that were unhealthy for me spiritually, emotionally, physically.
You were leading other people were following you while you were doing those things, and she was saying,
even though I might have been the voice,
right.
Even though I might have been trying to engage them and say, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do,"
right?
They're not bettering me.
So she's saying her definition of a leader is someone who makes things better, make people better, and make situations better. So even if people are following you and you're not doing the right thing, you're not a leader.
You're following the same pattern or path or wave. Energy.
Grandmother was wise, huh?
Oh man, beyond the years.
Man, I would like to have met her.
Hey man, you might be seeing her.
Moving along. Moving along from that one. Maybe we'll see her next time. Another life. We don't want to see her right now. Man, the hardest thing though, living in this world, like I was saying before, wanting to do better, letting worldly things get you it's harder when you know better. When you're moving and you're existing in this and you know better and you awaken and you're aware of things and you see and perceive things different, but yet you're still sitting here and you're not moving at your highest capability. I mean, it's the hardest thing, man. It's like torture when you know better.
It is. Right. It is. It's a struggle within, man. When you know better and you have nobody that helps you navigate your own path.
Right.
With consideration, though, like they're taking your emotion in consideration. They're taking your ideas in consideration. See, our problem is we don't have a true support system. So what happens to anomalies, they get diminished. And the reason I want to come to that is this simple fact. My thought process or my ideology is be different. It's okay to be weird.
I like the word weird.
Me too.
Right.
Man.
I've always liked the word weird.
But an anomaly is still an atom. It's a particle, a dust particle to be more specific. You're a fallen star. If we have the same consistency in our makeup as a star, then we're from that. So go ahead, be a star, be different, be weird. It's okay.
That's easier said than done, especially with the social media era where everybody's trying to be everybody else. When you see people, you just see a carbon copy of the next person.
Bro, conformity.
Carbon copy of the next person, man. Especially these kids. I look at them and all of them look the same. Hair the same, clothes the same.
All of it.
Everything's the same, man.
What are we, clones?
That's what it feels like.
Man, we'll come back.
We're going to have to because I almost got started just saying.
We'll come back, man.
We're going to have to come back to that.
Why do we have to be clones? So are we walking around like robots every single day, right?
Man, I can't be no robot.
Man,
that's the struggle every day. It's just not in me to be that, man.
They said if there's a statistic that says if you took the entire makeup of the world, human existence, there's only 1% that's actually an anomaly.
But I will say this. I'm speaking about you right now.
Oh.
You say, when it comes to being an anomaly, I don't know. You got this, gift about you where, I don't know, people are drawn to you. It's like you're just light force. You have this healing energy, and it's just something about you that draws people in, and they just feel safe, and they expose their soul to you, and they just, I don't know, they're so comfortable around you, and I think that's the biggest thing that makes you so different. Everybody doesn't have that. I think that's the biggest part of your purpose, and I don't know. I think you're just going to do big and great things with that, and I think that's God-given. Like, no one, I ain't going to say no one has that, but no one has it that I've seen in my life, all 37 years, to the degree that I've seen it in you, which is a reflection of myself.
Oh, no doubt. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Here we go.
Right.
So do you want to know the reason why, though?
Okay, come with it.
Well, I'll go with this first. I honestly, truly believe that I'm a representation of what love is supposed to be, and I want to be that every single day. Mm-hmm. But I can tell you through my struggles in living in this world, being so different, I lacked love.
Right.
So I know how to mirror what I never had.
Facts.
So that makes me an anomaly again.
So
now.
To mirror, you had to see it before, though. You had to see it at least once. Grandmother?
That was the beginning.
Okay. You had to see it.
Great-grandfather.
All right, you can't mirror something you don't see. So,
well, I'll tell you something that most people are afraid to do for themselves. Most people are afraid to talk to themselves.
Okay.
And I'll tell you simply, if you study psychology, talking to yourself is the same thing as praying.
Right. A lot of people are probably afraid to talk to themselves too, because I feel like, I mean, you see every part of yourself when you do that. It's exposed. I mean, that's like doing that shadow work. Shadow work, man.
So because I lack those things, when I would talk to myself or pray, to God, try to get understanding and things like that, I started to realize things that I didn't have for myself. So I ended up learning how to interact with a person.
Right.
I knew how to provide for something I didn't have.
Right.
So now you got to be careful, though, because you can exhaust yourself.
Right. Trust me, I know about that.
So those were some of the things that I learned along that way. And look, man, thank you. No
doubt, man. I've just seen the way you touch people and the way people respond to you and the way people gravitate to you. And I've seen people like they were on their last leg and they didn't have to say a word, and you'll pick up on it, and then you'll lift them up. You give them a couple kind words, and it's just like you revive them. And it's like you can see the breath and you see the shoulders soften and they start to breathe again. So I ain't going to say you're giving them life, but you're giving them life at that moment, because you never know what a person's going through, man.
I'll say we're giving each other life. We're piggybacking off each other, because most people probably don't understand what I'm going through at that particular moment.
Right.
A part of me is so different that I become isolate. Where you feel like you're distant from anybody. You're so rare. You're so different. You're Jesus-like. You're peculiar. They want to hang you at the cross or put you on a stake. Burn you like you're, a witch.
Right.
When I go to witchcraft or think about that, that was smart, influential, smart, wise women. And because the era in which they lived in made them so different, so weird.
Oh, yeah, especially for a woman.
Yeah. You can't be that strong.
Wasn't supposed to do that. You better get in that kitchen, Betty.
Come on, Betty.
That's it.
Right. So when I see stuff like that within myself, because women raised me.
Right.
6 of them. So I start thinking in those terms.
Right.
Now, sadly, they didn't know what the little boy needed.
Okay.
But they did everything to raise that little boy.
Right.
That they could.
They were doing what they can to try to, turn you, make you into a man. They probably was trying to do that. And you say they don't know what that little boy needed.
Well, our society is governed a certain way. So they probably, if I had to guess, instead of looking at the negative, I'm looking at the positive. They were trying to prepare a boy for a world that we live in. Okay.
Yeah. That's exactly what they were doing. The best that they could do as a woman.
Right.
As a woman, let me see what I could do to get him ready for the world. As a man, which truly they can't really, give you the experience of being a man. But they did the best they could.
But look, this is what I want to change if I can, or be a part of. Like Tupac said, let's spark the brain that could change the world.
Right.
So in my mind, I say, hey, man, look, a birth of an anomaly is rare. They're separated by distance of time, usually never meeting another anomaly, foreign entity again.
Usually. Got two sitting right here.
Yeah, that's why I brought that up.
That's why that's like 1%.
Yeah, 1% in this like entire world, man.
I got a question, and it's gonna, I don't know, make you think, or maybe it's on the top of your brain. Maybe you thought of it before. You have a ready-made answer or whatever. But right now, clear your mind, clear your brain. Just exist for a second, okay? If you could right now get rid of the world, get rid of the restraints, the limitations, the boundaries, and you exist right now, and you see your purpose, what would that look like? What would you be doing right now? You don't have to worry about going to a job, working. You don't have to worry about anything. What would it look like? What would you be doing right now in this world?
It'll sound weird, but I'd be in the woods.
You'd be in the woods, and you think that's fulfilling your purpose, being in the woods? I'm talking about on a large scale, like that's fulfilling your purpose is what I'm talking about. What would they look like if you didn't have to worry about any outside
force? Well, I would have
everyone
in the woods with us.
Nature. You take everybody back to nature.
No, we'd be living under God's guidance.
Okay.
The way I see it in my mind, I say, okay, if I could be the primary influential person in this entire world, is that what you're saying?
You can go with that.
Okay, I'll run. I'll run. Just don't catch me, okay? So, in my mind, the way I see building our entire world, obviously hippies and nomads have this type of concept. Love is essential. we don't have to get caught up in a cog system.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like robots, a matrix, or anything like that.
Okay.
What makes us different is that we understand affection, love, and nurture.
Okay.
So that'll bring us back to nature.
Mm-hmm.
We'd be building an environment together, a world together. That's the greatest purpose to me.
Okay.
A lot of people want to see riches and finances and possessions. That doesn't make you different. That makes you normal.
Oh, exactly.
So if we want to be different, we have to learn how to build each other up, help each other be successful. So a part of my purpose is let's help each other be financially savvy. Let's help each other be financially successful.
Sound like togetherness. It's everything you see is togetherness, bringing everybody together.
Well, why would we not?
I don't know. I'm just saying that's what it is. I can see when you speak of everything is let us. So you're not a selfish person. Is what I'm saying.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no.
You think about the world. Okay, what is your gift? You already know what your gift is, or are you still searching for that?
No.
What's your gift, man?
You know, it's funny. You and I talked not that long ago, and I told you, I said, you know, my parents are deaf. So my gift is I have the ability to be able to speak. A lot of people take that simple principle for granted.
Right.
I don't take speaking for granted.
Right.
So my gift is I'm able to speak.
So you're saying about being a voice for others is your gift?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what are you planning to use that for? I mean, what are you planning to do with that? As far as the
Touch
speaking
every
part?
soul that I can.
One person at a time, huh?
One person at a time until I have no breath left.
Dang, that's deep. But I can understand, like, people don't view speaking as you do, because when I met you and you told me about your parents and you told me about the experiences you've been through, and I watched the movie Coda, you know, I see things a little differently in that arena, and I can see, like, why you're so articulate in the way you speak, and I can see why you hold importance in that. And a lot of people,
I do.
Yeah.
And see, the sad thing is, and look, I don't want to make any distinctions and cause confusion or division, because I don't believe in division. But hearing people and codas and deaf people can be a little different. See, we'll hold weight on words. And the only reason I hold weight on words is because I'm actually trying to touch your soul. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to touch you and connect to you because I don't have that privilege in my family.
All right, makes sense.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
See,
Get it.
you know, in the deaf community, you could sign something, but your physicality becomes the definition. And so when I look at another person, your definition of your physicality versus your words is something different in my mind.
I can see that, man. It goes deeper.
So reality for me, perceptions are, you know.
Yeah.
Why not dialogue with each other and try to connect with one another?
Right.
That makes us different, by the way.
Right.
Because most people will not continue to seek understanding with another.
I mean, that's the gift right there. I think that's my gift, the gift of understanding. Because I've
we're
always
here.
been that way. Yeah, we're here. I've always been that way with everybody. I have that gift of discernment. Like, when I speak with someone, and I didn't grow up around deaf people, but I still possess that gift. Anytime I'm around people, they don't have to use words. And when I'm in your presence, I can read your energy. I can feel your energy. And I can tell you some things that's going on in your mind or going on in your world without you even having to say a word. So therefore, when people speak to me, they understand that, and they feel totally free, and they expose things about themselves that they normally wouldn't expose to other people, or whatever. It just
And I know that as fact because you knew how to communicate with my mom,
right,
without knowing the language.
Right, without knowing the language, man. Just reading energy and just being there. But you know, with that gift comes great responsibility. I used to consider it a gift and a
What are you,
curse.
Spider-Man?
I used to consider it a gift and a curse because people tend to feel naked around me as well. So I had to learn that just because I know everything, and I ain't gonna say everything, just because I know things.
No, you're familiar.
I know things.
You can pick up.
And I see things, don't mean I always have to speak on it. You know what I'm saying? It's a slow process. You have to take baby steps sometimes. And a lot of people are not ready for me to just throw it out on the table. I used to just be like, hey, I know you're going through this, and this.
Okay,
and
73.
This, and I can see in your eyes. I can see the sadness in your soul and all that. And it's just like, light bulb go off like, oh, take off. They don't want to hear that. So
Right, you ran them off.
Right, you run them off. And And I'm not just speaking like no romantic stuff. I'm just talking about people in general. A lot of people don't want to be seen like that. So you got to, take it kind of slowly. You got to learn how to navigate your way into that until they feel a little bit more comfortable. And like you said, but gift and the curse, but now I just see it totally as a gift. I plan to uplift people with that. I plan to help people. And I kind of sacrifice myself sometimes with that because as an empath, I take in a lot of energy. And sometimes I can't even separate whether it's mine or another person's. So, right.
I'm glad you said that. I don't know how you find yourself in tune with me so much or me in tune with you. But all I got to say is this. Be different. Be free. Live life as free as air. Never question one's existence. Be the star that fell upon earth.
That a poem? Sound like it.
Man, but it fits what you were saying, though. Let's truly connect with one another.
Right.
Let's be understanding with one another. Let's be patient with one another.
Right.
Just because we're insightful, especially those that are wise beyond their years, especially if we are the most different individual in our community, our little circle, right? Because ultimately we start with a little circle.
We do.
A wolf pack.
It make me laugh because it make me think about the movie Hangover when you say wolf pack. You seen that?
You talking about Mike Tyson with a tiger?
Yeah. Where he was on top of that building. You say he cut his hand with the blood brothers or something he said. Right. Sorry, I get off on tangents, man. But yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing, like to be different. If you are different, don't let the world change you. Be that, live that freely because like we said before, life is short. Life is short, and there's a reason that's inside
How many
of
summers?
you. There's a reason like you like that.
How many summers?
You got about 30 or 40 summers left
man.
if you're like
It's not
30
that many.
years old, 20, 30, 40 summers, man. So it's okay. Step out of the shadows, be yourself. There's other people out there that's like you, and it's cool, man. You don't have to get in a ball, be in your little shell. Step out into the world and live.
You and I talked about that before. The idea that we were both the type of people that will create our own walls or boundaries. We're so different that it wasn't comfortable to let anybody in because most people are conformed.
Right.
They live their lives a certain way. They're robotic and their behavior becomes the same. So their emotion is the same. They never express it. They can't dialogue. They can't communicate. They can't connect. Because reality is most people only connect in certain patterns.
Got you.
I'm sorry for getting kind of sciencey,
okay.
But the idea is we're so conditioned to think a certain way. The anomalies in our world see it and they become reclusive.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's what we were just speaking on before, man. I don't know. You start to think that, I don't know, there's no one like you. I ain't gonna say it's no purpose for you, but it just feel like almost like you got to build.
All change now.
Almost like you got to build your own world away from the world, man. Because like it feels like no one understands. But once you realize it's a higher purpose and no one has to understand, God understands, and He put that in you for a reason. It's okay.
All right, so I want to kind of go into the idea of conditioned thought real quick. So my whole life when I was born, I thought I was an anomaly. I thought I was extremely different. And then I started to fall into a pattern conformity. I grew up in the hood. It seemed like every single place I lived was the worst place I lived. Or could be the worst place in the United States. You start to think a certain way, whether it's disbelief, having doubt within your mind. Then you start thinking of a violent nature or a sexual nature, and you only fall into those categories. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is we never break that pattern, and we create that same vicious cycle.
Okay.
If we are supposed to be Christ-like, Jesus on the face of the earth, like his blood, his life is supposed to mean something. Your life is supposed to mean something. Mm-hmm. Then we have to fall out of the norm.
Okay.
We cannot conform.
All right.
We cannot. allow ourselves to be caught up in a certain pattern of thought.
Conformity is almost like you're not living at all, seriously. It's like...
Yeah, it's dead.
Yeah, you're dead. You're not even alive, man. If you're conforming and you're not even tapping into that thing inside of you that God put you here for, because everyone, like you said, has a purpose. Everyone has a purpose. So if you're not doing that and you're just following along, you're not living at all. You're just existing, and that's no life at all.
Well, I'll say this then. Anomalies flow just like water and air. Let me say it again. Anomalies flow. People that are different, they flow just like water and air. They exist, right? Mm-hmm. They're fluid, right? Nobody can stop either, right? Mm-hmm. It just goes with the flow.
Okay.
The sad part is the majority get stuck. They're not like water and air.
Right.
And look, we could fall victim just the same.
I fell victim just the same, man. I'm at the best place in my life right now. Well, I'm just flowing with it, man. Flowing with whatever happens. I'm tapping into God. I'm tapping into myself, and I'm just going with whatever's inside of me. I'm just letting it go. I mean, I find roadblocks, and I have to figure out how to navigate around them or whatever. But once I tap back in and just realize that it's a higher purpose, I'm good to go.
I got to tell you something. No, don't think for a second you're not beautiful, homie.
Thanks,
like,
man.
real talk.
Thanks, dude.
There are moments where I have been in dark moments, maybe, or where I couldn't see me.
Right.
You were there. That makes you different. There are a lot of people that give up on people.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not telling you to sacrifice yourself so much that you exhaust yourself in something that's not worth it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying that you didn't give on something that you actually could see because it was given back to you.
Right. Reciprocation. Right.
Evolution.
So are you saying that if someone is not reciprocating, it's the right thing to do, that you shouldn't do that? You shouldn't put yourself out there. You shouldn't even at least try.
Look,
try to understand. Maybe they are not capable of that. Maybe they don't have that same understanding yet. So you're just supposed to give up, or do you? When is too much?
It's not that you give up,
okay,
because forgiveness is a real thing. You'll constantly be there if they come back with the right mentality or the right spirit. Remember, you and I talked about briefly, and I kind of laugh at this a little bit because if you go to our social media site, you'll see me saying this, and most people won't get it. Love spelled backwards is evolve. Mm-hmm. That word is a derivative of evolution. Mm-hmm. If we're not evolving, then we're not real love. And let me break it down to you again. They say there's a circle of life. Mm-hmm. So if I'm not giving it to you and you're not giving it to me, which is an evolution or a revolution, or it's evolving.
Okay.
It makes a circle. Mm-hmm. Then we're not about real love. So that means we're disconnected.
Right.
Which is dead.
That's true, because like a lot of relationships suffer. You find a lot of people giving more than the other person, then they start to feel depleted or whatever because they're not getting anything back. So as much as they want to pour into that person or whatever, so yeah, you're right. It always work out like that. If they're not getting anything back, it dies.
So the very moment you feel like you're not getting anything back, what do? What should you do?
What, back off, give up, or put that energy somewhere else?
Not give up, just go ahead and keep moving somewhere else.
Well, I call it giving up. Well, I guess you don't call it giving up because if they change their mentality or if they evolve,
their spirit,
you're still open to it.
Right.
I got to work on that too, though, because sometimes I'll close somebody out now. If I feel like it's some super negative energy or whatever, I'll close them out.
Well, I'll shut them off at that moment.
You're right. That's growth.
But it's temporary.
Right.
As we talk about life being temporary, right? Mm-hmm. It's only a span of time. So people can change in time. And the only reason I even know that or learn that is because of what I was in my teenage years. Right. I was so damaged as a kid, through all the damage, the abandonment or whatever you want to say. Mm-hmm. I had to learn that there were people that showed love. Right. There were people trying to hold on. I didn't necessarily see it at the time.
Right.
And so at this age, 44, 8, foundation.
I got you.
A basis.
Okay.
So you and I are connected, for example, and we go through our misunderstandings. Sometimes it feels like we're, disconnecting a little bit, right?
A lot of it. Sometimes it feel like.
A lot of it.
Sometimes it feel like a lot of it, but we always come back.
Right.
We're human.
Well, at the end of the day, what ends up happening is, you don't want to admit this, but we both have Jesus complexes.
I have.
So you're not Christ-like. You don't have the mind of Christ.
Yeah, you can't use that word and make me be like, oh yeah, I am just.
I was just asking.
I might have a complex for the moment, but I don't like. We're not gonna go there. I'll let you have it. Go ahead, go whatever you say. Go whatever you say, dude.
Well, at the end of the day, we edify each other. We build each other up. So we're there for each other. We're going beyond misunderstandings.
Right.
We're not letting conformity define us.
Right.
Because there are conditioned thoughts that each of us have. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about, think about how many generations taught us, or how many generations were taught a certain thing, and then it reaches us, and that's how embedded. Right. So all of a sudden, we're dealing with that struggle within each other, separate from each other.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
But we're communicating in dialogue. And it only brings me back to the fact that the only reason I could even resonate with that idea is because I have deaf parents. That doesn't make me better than anybody. That just makes me familiar.
Okay. Man, I was just thinking about, a thought just passed through my head that 10 years from now, I don't know, like, what do I want to see myself doing? What do I see myself doing? I don't know. I think I can see a big platform. I don't know, 50,000 people come to my mind. Just giving of myself, of everything I learned, sharing the evolution. And I don't know. I feel chosen at times. Like, I don't know. Is that a complex to feel like I'm chosen? To feel like something that grand? Is a big thing to think of? Like, I just want to help a lot of people. I want to heal a lot of people, man, all at one time. I know they say one by one, but I just want to do it on such a large scale.
So you want to know if that's a complexity?
Yeah, because I really think it's that big, and it just eats up at me. Like,
well, some people would define you as arrogant at that moment.
That's what I'm trying not to be, and I'm like, is that what that is? But I'm not. But I'm not. It's not a selfish thing. I'm saying this about helping people. I'm not saying this about anything for myself. I'm saying this about giving of myself.
Most people are not going to give you the time to understand what you just said.
Right.
But yes, it's a complex to a degree.
Why does it have to be called that? I don't think they call it complex because I want to help. Because I see myself on that large of a scale. Because if it's in my brain, if I'm thinking it, if I dream about it, that means God put it there. So I think it's a complex to want to do the thing inside that God says I can do. I might not see the path of how to get there right now. Like, you ever know, like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I just know it's going to happen. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I know it's going to get there. And I don't really think I should call it a complex.
So you're saying that God put it in you, right?
It's been in me for a long time. And the number 50,000 come to my mind. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to be at somebody else's event. I don't know if it's going to be something of mine. I don't know if it's just 50.
So I want to kind of be petty a little bit. Okay. So you said God put it in your mind.
It's been in my mind since I was a kid that it's something big like that. Yeah. It's
what happened to Jesus when he thought God put it in his mind?
He just got the cross.
Yeah.
The cross.
Come on, man.
But that's how I feel.
The sad thing is, when you believe that type of way, there's no doubt technically existing within you. People create doubt, and that's the sad thing again. Now we go right back to conformity. We go back to the ideas or the ideology that's been created in our system. Okay. This is a struggle for me, man. Yeah. You asked me a question earlier, and I told you 5 or 6 is when I thought. So I'll tell you a little storyline. My great-grandfather, born 1903, died, when I was about 6 years old. And I'll never forget this. Now, my family, my peers, and some of my seniors, they know this story. He died at 84 years of age. Country folk, Indian reservation. I remember going to the funeral, going to the wake, and I remember my kinfolk, my age, my peers, and they said, I need you to perform the eulogy. You need to talk. Right. Preach us this sermon about his death. And I told you at 5 years old, I'd go outside and look at the stars and the moon. That's an anomaly. That makes you a little different. I don't know many children that just want to sit out there. Actually, I know.
You could have been a future astrologist.
We're not going to go there yet.
Okay.
We'll come back.
All right.
So I did preach, or minister or speak on how I
play
felt.
church.
Yeah, you can call it play church. But here you had a little boy at the end of the day, and we're going to come back to this too. You had a little boy that actually expressed emotion. Now, I don't take credit for this. I'm by proxy. Because I think he does govern us if we allow him.
Right. That's facts. That's the truth. Sometimes I also think I get frustrated a lot, but that comes with control because I told you I have that inside of me where I think God is telling me what I'm going to be, and it's been that way for a long time. So it's almost like, what can I be doing to make it happen now? I'm not doing enough. But if everything happens on God's time, it's going to happen when it happens. I have to let go and realize that and just keep moving forward and keep putting in the work and just keep just trying to help people and heal people as he instructs me to do. And, everything going to work out.
Let's move slow.
Yeah.
Let's not be too fast.
Yeah, but how long am I supposed to move slow? That's the thing. It's like, am I moving too slow in my mind? Like, am I moving too slow? Do I supposed to be doing something else? It's like, you know me. I'm unsettled at times. Like, I can't be still. I got to be doing something or I won't be successful. I won't be doing this. I won't be doing that. And
you make me nervous sometimes.
Right, I bet. And that's how I feel. Imagine inside of me.
I can. I can imagine how
nervous
you make me feel.
Feel the energy inside of me. It's always going. It's always moving. And I hate to put that on people, but, what do I do with that?
Let's keep praying. Let's keep meditating.
Right.
Let's keep appreciating nature. Let's continue to be different. Let's continue to be ourselves.
Right.
Let's take a breath.
Right.
It's okay, man, for us to breathe every single day. See, one of the most beautiful storylines, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring up, his example. Right. Nobody rushed him. Nobody could. That's one of the most beautiful examples I learned studying theology. Okay. Is that this man didn't allow anyone to change his time frame.
Everything happens in its own time, huh?
Trust it. Believe it.
Right.
So it's okay to be different, but never allow somebody to change you outside of what's governed outside of you. Okay. Simply put, no one can make you change. Like we'll take relationships, for example. People will say, let's say you and I were dating.
Let's say.
I'm using it as
I got you.
You want to fight?
I do, but go continue.
So, let's say you and I were dating, for example.
All right.
But we dated off of potential, what we thought could be.
All right.
We talked about negative and positive, right? So if I say, well, I can see all the potential in you, D-Luv, so I'm going to help you get there.
Right.
But if you never resonated with it, you never evolved, you never showed real love, which means I have to step away or you have to step away.
Right. I got you.
That's what he did.
You hit it on the head, man. But at the end of the day, I don't know. We just want to be different. It's okay to be different. What would you say to a child right now? Because, we're going to get ready to wrap this up soon. A little boy in the country right now, sitting there looking at the stars. He's like, I'm different inside. I don't know what to do with that. I'm not like everybody else around here. What would you say to that little boy right now?
Man, if I was talking to somebody like KJ, for example, first of all, I'd sit outside under the stars, the moon. I'd take several breaths. He'd probably wonder why I'm breathing so slow. I'd take another deep breath. He might ask me because he's comfortable. And I'd tell him, well, son, Life is short. Appreciate every breath. And never let a single soul stop you from breathing. If you know how to control your own breath, you'll learn how to never let a person control you.
That's powerful. I never viewed it like that. And on the same accord, like I said, I'm going to piggyback off you, to that little kid that's locked up in that room with that notebook, writing, sitting there thinking about how vast and big the world is and how they're in that little space, sitting there in the country or sitting there in the neighborhood that everybody's the same and everybody's conforming, but they know something's different. To that person sitting in that room, I just want to say, it's okay.
And we love
you. Be
you.
you. We love you. Step out of the shadows. Be yourself. You have something the world needs. That thing's inside of you for a reason. It's okay to step forth in your purpose. It's okay if you don't have all the answers. It's okay to make mistakes. Just step out. You don't have to be perfect, and just go forth with it, man. Live one day at a time and just lead with love, man. Be who you are. Be who you're designed to be, and it's okay.
Well, I can tell you right now, you touched a little boy in me. How about that?
Right. It's a reflection. It's a mirror, right?
Right. Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, man. Well, we're getting ready to wrap this thing up. But before we do, I do want to say, for all you guys that tune in to Stroke, the Art of Mental Stimulation, to keep up with us on all social media, you can go find us and you can go follow us at Stroked, STROK'D _ the podcast. And that's at Stroked, STROK'D _ the podcast, to keep up with everything we have going on, to follow some of the posts we put on. We share some of our work, and just, stay tuned. Anything you guys want to say, Stroke, before we get out of here? Stroke. I called you Stroke, boy.
It's okay. Hey, man, I stroke him up. But it's okay, though. D-Luv. All I really want to say is, man, if you want some love in your life, come see D.
Come see D.
Because that's D-Luv.
Man, I'm providing it.
If you want to see a flow, come see Stroke.
I like that, man. Well, you guys know what just happened. Once again, you were stroked. Y'all have a good night. Bye.